Season 7, Episode 18, Daring Done?
No, not Daring.
Okay, so we start off. Rainbow Dash is unimpressed with the affairs in the news that Pinkie is reading. There's a new shrubbery in Castle Gardens, brought to you by the Knights Who Say Me. There's a parasprite infestation in Philadelphia that was eradicated.
That's good.
Noodles were named official food of Winneapolis. A.K. Yearling announced retirement, and the Cloudsdale election is heating up for a candidate in favor of cooling it down. Of course, only one of those things actually got Dash's attention.
And it's not the one Pinkie Pie thought.
Yes. Yes, Rainbow freaks out about her retiring, and they immediately go to invade her privacy.
And this is why J.K. Rowling is all like, yep, there's only going to be this many books. And then she wrote a dozen more. Not good.
But at this point, Rainbow doesn't deny that her concern is not entirely for Yearling's safety. No, I'm going to throw something out here as an interesting idea. I'm not sure how I would, if I didn't fully flesh it out, but it seems like an interesting place they could have taken this sort of episode. As a missed opportunity for a different plot based on continuity from Fame and Misfortune. Where Dash exposes that Daring Do is in fact real in the friendship journal, and A.K. Yearling has to deal with that. And perhaps to deal with it, Dash has to disguise herself as Daring so they can be in the same place at the same time. Take advantage.
Well, they got the voice down.
What?
They have similar vocal quality.
Yeah. And, they're palette swaps, so a little dye job here, and they'd look exactly alike. But anyway, so Dash presses AK on the issue, and is initially reluctant to tell her the real reasons for her retirement. Pinkie is the mellowing element in this confrontation, keeping Dash from going too far. Anyway, it turns out the aftermath of her adventures started making the press in southern Equestria, where they don't print her books. I guess that's one way of explaining why the two are so separate. Why they think they're fictional and they know she's real, but don't know who A.K. Yearling is. They don't, and she felt guilty for causing more harm than good. The occasional, world of cardboard to a certain extent, except for non-Superman. So they head off to Somnambula. Fun fact: somnambulate is the term for sleepwalking. And we get I like that they kept up with the journey using the Indiana Jones dots and lines across the map, going all the way down to southern Equestria. Somnambula has a heavy Egyptian vibe with pyramids and the like. We meet a old grumpy Grandpere recolor, which I think Grandpere was the first of his model that I can remember. And then I guess they're like, well, we just did this, so we've got the model, let's just do a recolor, save us some time. And he complains about his apple cart and the sacred statue being destroyed to Dash's inquiry. She's so confused. She's so certain that you got it all wrong. You got it all wrong. Apparently, the team blew a perception check and completely missed that the one spreading the hate for Daring Do was Caballeron in a cloak. I half expected a "that's Big Mac in a dress" reaction. That would have been really funny. Just like, no, that's Cabaleron. You're obviously Cabaleron. My disguise was perfect. It was a cloak. You didn't even disguise your voice that well.
I know.
Oh, it's like,
come on, man, you ain't even trying hard now.
yeah. So I mean, they rolled a 1 on their perception check. So Pinky and Dash chase a fleeing AK to the Get On In, where Daring stays often.
That's what she said.
But she's the proprietor is mad at her too for not paying her bill and having a band of ruffians bust up the rooms looking for her. You would think that they wouldn't, there's only so many places a Pegasus could hide, so you wouldn't think they would need to bust up a room. It's not like you're looking for a piece of treasure. But then again, maybe they were just looking for the treasure she was supposed to have. Anyway, so
they forgot to look up.
Yeah. Nobody ever looks up.
She's a Pegasus.
Yes.
Let's not look up.
Well, yeah, and it's just with this, that comes back in a second, but this is just like in a lot of space opera, everything's on a 2-dimensional sort of thing. Nobody ever uses the 3rd dimension, and it's just whatever. Okay. The cloaked Cabaleron spews more hate at the inn and lies about having his Glopaz necklace stolen by Daring. A pun on topaz, or a portmanteau of glow and topaz, as well as blaming all the other Glopaz thefts on her. The ponies rabble at the destroyed statue. Dash begins to turn the tide until she calls the statue crummy. Turns out the town was named after Somnambula, and the statue was of her. And now it's lore time. So, turns out Somnambula's generosity in helping others moved the prince to act against the Sphinx that had been terrorizing the village and taking most of the crops for itself. Not being the best military planner, the prince is then captured and held hostage until someone can solve the Sphinx's riddle. Somnambula was the only one brave enough to confront the Sphinx, and at her setting out, we leave the flavorful hieroglyphic style art and re-enter the normal art style, which that was very cool to do, the kind of hieroglyphics and whatnot. And then we get the riddle of the Sphinx, which I guess the old riddle of the Sphinx, or maybe this is a different riddle I've not heard before, but the old riddle of the Sphinx was always, what walks on 4 legs, 4 legs in the morning, 2 legs in the afternoon, and 3 at twilight. And I guess that doesn't really work with ponies, so they had to come up with a different one.
If you answer wrong, I will eat you.
You sound like you're about 1,000,000 miles away.
And a robot.
And they're like, if you answer wrong, I will eat you.
Yes.
I will eat the babies.
So, I shine brightest in the dark. I am there, but cannot be seen. To have me costs you nothing. To be without me costs you everything. As Somnambula thought of the hardship she and her fellow villagers had experienced, she instantly knew the answer. Hope, she shouted. She answered the riddle successfully, but the Sphinx was not satisfied, and forced her to walk blindfolded to the prince with her wings disabled, across a very shaky bridge. She saves the prince and received a string of Glopaz as a reward. The citizens are still cross about the statue. Cabaleron reveals himself to Dash for some reason. and then somehow manages to kidnap the best flyer in Equestria in an open air area with a lackey team composed entirely of earth ponies.
Pretty much.
Dash, you can fly upward. If you flap your wings really hard and fly straight upward, they're earth ponies. They can't catch you. Fly up somewhere high and mock them. Seriously, you couldn't be bothered to get a Pegasus? Not that it would have helped much because, you know, fastest flyer in Equestria, so it would have been fairly pointless.
Mm-hmm.
That feels like that was a little, yeah. So they get a strange exchange to move the plot along, as you know, they don't really need to have the scene. It may have been just set in there because they needed some little something to, you know, kind of buffer out the time. Pinkie Pie starts with, "I'm coming, Rainbow Dash," to Daring Do. I knew you'd come." Daring Do, "You did? I sure didn't. What if I caused more trouble?" Pinkie Pie, "You won't." Daring Do, "How do you know?" Pinkie Pie, "I just do. You wouldn't let anything happen to Rainbow Dash. You care too much." Daring Do, "You're right. Which way did they go?" "To the pyramid."
Which way did they go, George? Which way did they go?
Well, I mean, this whole thing seems, you know, did we really doubt that she would go after? And I guess this is to kind of bring that whole doubting herself about, you know, causing more damage than not. But this seems like something that, you know, she wouldn't need convincing on. It's like, just, you know, this is Dash. We're saving her, you know, and then, you know, if you want to have this sort of conversation afterwards, yes, that's something that Daring Do might do. You know, it's like you went after it anyway. Well, it needed to be done. It wasn't, you know, She gave her reasoning afterwards, but it didn't. I don't think the scene really needed to happen. They could just, you know, show them running to the pyramid, and that's all that they would need.
I think the reason why they did that scene was kind of as a tie-in to the story that they told. That whole hope and shit like that. Because it's kind of she lost faith in herself, and Pinkie Pie didn't lose faith in her.
Yeah.
And that sort of shit.
Yeah, that's basically what I was going for. But yeah, coming from a different angle, but the same general gist. They were trying to tie it back into what they were talking about with all the, oh, I'm going to cause more damage and what, and so we get inside. Kevlaron ties up Rainbow on the same rock as the prince as it slowly sinks into the acidic ooze. But the wing restriction magic is still in effect. Question: how did he test that? All of his lackeys are earth ponies. Again, none of them are Pegasi. How did he know that?
And yeah. Why didn't they test it? Is my question.
What do you mean? Why didn't they test it?
Why didn't she try? She didn't even try flying.
Yes, she did. She tried to fly, but she couldn't. It showed her wings, and they were twitching, and she was trying to do something, but she couldn't get it done. And she's like, "Yeah, he's right."
Well, it's been like 3 weeks since I've seen this one.
Yeah, I watched it earlier in the week to do my
to refresh
thing. Well, I tend to watch. I tend to watch the show twice. I watch it once to enjoy it, and once to analyze it. That way, I know the story already, and then I can start picking it apart. Not in a bad way, just kind of to really thoroughly analyze it. Okay, so they take a leap of faith, like Indy and the Last Crusade, with no real reason to believe it would be okay, but it works out anyway as air jets bounce them along.
Well, Pinkie Pie's reason is, hey, I'm the main character. Nothing happens to the main character.
Yeah, well, she's self-aware of her own plot armor, so like.
And she has her own powers over the laws of physics.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't have to worry. I can manipulate physics like a cartoon character that I am.
Well, and I guess if, from her perspective, she would have been able to see the air jets, I suppose. You know, but to know that they would actually work. And I don't know that the jets would have been. It would have to be some really freaking strong jets to bounce a full pony around like that. But
Well,
A heavy
Pinkie
earth pony
Pie
like
is
that.
60% helium.
This is true. That explains her voice. And
anyway.
the fact that she can just bounce like that.
Let's see. Daring catches Caballero trying to escape and exposes his theft of the Glopaz and his plan to ruin her reputation. And then we get
Because
the...
they care about her reputation. Totally don't care about the Glopaz. Just her reputation.
and then we get the moral of today's story is from Daring Do. It says, me too, but I'm glad I realized that even if you're fighting for something good, you're still responsible for your actions. Dash responds with, and if something bad happens that you didn't intend, you shouldn't give up hope or lose faith in yourself. Yeah, all you got to do is make it right. Feel free to use that in your next book. Daring Do, you know, I think I will. At which point, Daring uses her wealth to restore what damage she did cause and make amends. Because she's got Batman's superpower. Money.
Yep.
Mhm.
Great superpower out there.
But, though, I mean, for as much as she has, I guess, you know, she doesn't, you know, she lives quite modestly for a very
Well,
well-to-do
that's why
pony.
she has so much money. Because she doesn't spend it.
True.
She spends it on notebooks and plane tickets. Not even that one, because she can fly.
He's much adventuresome.
So hotel rooms and,
Yeah,
you know,
the general expenses of being a international, not necessarily international,
traveling adventurer.
but yes, a wandering adventurer seeking treasures and adventure.
You know, I'm looking at the
First off,
screenshot. I'm looking at the screenshot you used, and damn, I didn't realize your glasses are so big.
Yeah.
Yeah, A.K. Yearling uses some fairly large glasses, but that's, you know, when you're doing a disguise, you want to, you know, have some very distracting elements.
That's why Superman wears glasses.
Yes.
Oh yeah, like nobody knows who Superman is.
Well, apparently not, because nobody ever figures
No,
it out
this is
until...
funny joke. Let's see. I think it's like one of them tells Lex Luthor, "Hey, I thought it was Superman. He's Clark Kent. Let's all attack him." And Lex Luthor's like, "Yeah, we all know that Clark Kent's Superman. Well, why don't we attack him? Do you think he's any less bulletproof as Clark Kent?"
But,
Got a point there.
you know, and the thing is, like, you know, there's always the, there's a comic that floats around I see every once in a while. You know, Lois Lane is looking at Facebook, and you know, it's like, and she's got a picture of her with Superman, and he's like, "Would you like to tag Clark Kent in this photograph?"
I haven't seen that one.
It wanders. It appears every once in a while. It's pretty good. It's like, wait a second. Smallville, you've been hiding something from me. But it was an alright episode. We got some adventure. We got some cool locale. I'm not a massive fan of the Daring Do episodes, but they're okay.
Yeah, you don't like them because they don't have your beloved background pony. I mean, Applejack.
It's not necessarily that, but they're usually... I didn't like that they made... I guess it works somewhat, but... And it does expand the the ability of what they can do, expand kind of what stories they can do, but making Daring Do real was a little awkward. It's like, here's these books, and oh yeah, no, she's real. What? And they have to put this kind of hackneyed sort of, oh no, she doesn't sell her books, and she only adventures in Southern Equestria, and she only sells her books in Northern Equestria. Right.
And
Nobody's ever taken a Daring Do book to the
Western
Southern.
Equestria.
What?
And she has parties in Western Equestria, and she does her clothes shopping in Eastern Equestria.
But anyway, yeah. So I mean, a Daring Do book has never made it to the South, and nobody from the North has ever been traveling in the South and ran into her. And the fact that they just during the Dash just freaking not a couple episodes ago freaking showed that she's real. It's like that must have been really weird to read that. It's like, oh yeah, I met up with Daring Do and we did this and that. It's like, wait, Daring Do is real? And that must have been really awkward for people. It's like, what? That's again why I thought that kind of side story thing would have been cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right, episode. The Egyptian sort of stuff was really cool. There was a lot of flavor there that was really cool, and they did a really good job, I think. I mean, I'm not a historical expert, so I don't know whether any of it's, oh, that's not accurate. They wouldn't have had this and that, and oh, this isn't quite so. But
Besides,
I don't care. It's cool looking.
There really isn't any set like continuity between Equestria and Earth. So even though they're very much freaking steampunk over there. Equestria is straight up steampunk, or the opposite of steampunk. They have so much modern and so much not existing that should be there in modern. So it's really
it's a magic steampunk.
Yeah,
everything's either run on magic or steam.
Yeah, so it's not really something. It doesn't matter if it's historically accurate because there is no temporal fixation compared to Earth.
Yeah.
Well, but yeah, it was a very cool place to see, and you do get the kind of it really does bring in that kind of Indiana Jones style flavor to the story that looks really cool.
So, I mean, here's a question. If A.K. Yearling or Daring Do wanted to have a good reputation in town, why didn't she just automatically pay for the damage that she caused?
She didn't realize it, I guess. She gets rolling.
She was kind of in a hurry. She was being chased down by a bunch of freaking lackeys. She ran out of there.
Yeah, the whole problem with the inn and probably the statue was that she was in a hurry to save the town from being swallowed up.
Yeah, but I mean, after she got the news that, oh, hey, they're mad at you for all the damage, oh, hey, I should pay for that then.
Yeah, I don't know. It just... I don't know. She does eventually, but I guess she didn't realize how much damage she did, maybe, or I don't know. Which I guess it could be also kind of a little stick poking Indiana Jones a little bit for, yes, you leave things completely destroyed on your way out of town. Like everywhere you go, destruction follows. Anyway.
Discord.
But
different chaos.
I said destruction follows, not chaos follows. But
I know.
in a way, yes. Any other thoughts before we wrap this up and move on?
Nope, I'm floofy, cute, and adorable.